Hey, it's the John and Chase Show.
All right. So today we're going to recap the year in sports because this has been one of my favorite years yet. Not only because the Eagles won the Super Bowl, but because this was the true year where a lot of teams made the impossible happen. So just even going back to last fall with the World Series, a team that just 2 years ago was at the bottom of the league somehow came back, had a great year, made an unbelievable run, and ended up winning the World Series. Okay, so the Astros never won one in franchise history. Kind of started off what I would consider the last year in sports. Right after the Astros won the World Series, some more impossible happened all throughout football season, but we got to the college football championship, and even though Alabama was expected to be there, it was the impossible in the game. So the quarterback who had only lost 2 games in his entire college career gets benched at halftime, and some dude named Tua comes in, and nobody knows who he is, and somehow he leads them back against the best defense in the country. And then, of course, the impossible happened when the Eagles lose their starting quarterback and prevailed through that. Continued that going throughout the year, but then you have the greatest quarterback of all time against a backup quarterback in the Super Bowl, and one caught a touchdown, one dropped a pass, and bada bing, bada boom, the Eagles are Super Bowl champions. And then it just continued from there. So one big moment for me was watching Yale sports. Yale lacrosse won the national championship. I don't know about you, but I don't hear about Ivy League winning anything. And somehow the Ivy League's still relevant in lacrosse. And Yale beat Duke, which was the best moment of my year, because outside the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, because Duke lost. I mean, nobody likes Duke. And then just this last weekend in the World Cup, everybody thought it was going to be Germany or Brazil or Spain. Nobody talked about France. Nobody's talked about France on an international level since 2006. And somehow France comes out and kind of breezes through the entire World Cup. And if you're kind of wondering why I get excited about teams making the impossible possible, is because that's really what motivates me as an individual, is helping people make the impossible possible. Or when I see somebody realize that they've made the impossible possible. I'm a motivator. I don't believe that things are impossible. I've been told my whole life that I can't reach this because I have this limitation, or you're too short to play this sport, or you're too small to ever succeed in this, or this is going to take too much hard work, it's not possible. I don't believe in impossible, and I think sports shows that to the world more than anything else does. When we're being hit with the news day in and day out about how much this world sucks, it's nice when you can escape into sports. And I also think this whole year in sports was good for me, because the previous year I felt like it was the opposite. All the favored teams seem to be winning everything. I mean, yeah, the NBA still got the Warriors, and somehow superstars joined up and keep winning. But, you had the Patriots, who the Patriots have won so many times in my lifetime, it's kind of disgusting. You had, even though I was happy, North Carolina, blue chip school, winning the college basketball championship. Kind of preseason number 1, everybody expected them to win it anyway. So this last year was really exciting for me, because you're seeing all these teams that nobody gave any chance to in the beginning of the year somehow come together and accomplish team goals. And I feed off of that. I feed off of seeing it. Working in the fitness industry, I see people do their impossible every day, but you also see it in daily life, and that's really what engages me. Football practice when I was 5 years old, my dad told me 4 rules, and it's kind of been the 4 rules I've lived my whole life by. Rule number 1 is give 110% on every play, and I do that in everything I do. And the reason it's 110 and not 100 is because 100 is just not good enough. If you feel like you can go above and beyond, and I know any mathematician will tell me 110% is not possible. I understand that. I'm not an idiot. But it is possible. It's going that extra step that you don't believe that you can go any further. And so when your brain's telling you to shut it off, you don't shut it off. You keep going. Rule number 2 is absolutely positively no fear. Fear holds you back from accomplishing the impossible. And then rule number 3, listen to your coach. That obviously changes depending on your dynamic. Is it listening to your boss or listening to your mentor or listening to your wife? Just depends on where you are at the moment.
How do you feel you do with that?
Well, how I listen to my wife? I listen to my wife all the time. Yeah, I don't fight back at all. I don't argue. I just do what I'm told. So if she tells you otherwise, she's lying to you. And then rule number 4 is have fun. It's the rule I always struggled with growing up. It's the rule I probably got reminded about the most. That rule was actually added later. It was not one of the original rules. Before that first football practice was only the first 3. That rule was added after my dad realized I was way too serious. And I needed to just kick back and have fun too. So those are the 4 rules.
Would you say that that's still a current struggle for John Grundy?
To have fun?
Yeah.
Just to kick back and have fun is always going to be a struggle for me.
Yeah.
But I've gotten better at it.
Yeah.
I think as I've gotten older, you realize how quickly time flies. And so you try to enjoy the time that you do have.
Yeah. All right, what else motivates you? I mean, that can't be all. I mean, I know there's an Eminem song or two that, kind of gets you pumped up every now and then. Even though you don't listen to any music.
Lose Yourself by Eminem pumps me up. Probably the biggest thing that pumps me up is when I see a group of people come together and accomplish a goal. I played team sports my whole life. I was never an individual sport guy, which is kind of surprising. I mean, I got a pretty big ego. You think that sometimes I'd want to go out and do, but I care more about, because I think it just means more. A lot of individual sports, not taking away from the athletes at all, but you can be the best at your sport and win all these medals, but it takes so much more to come together as 11 individuals. I can use basketball as an example. LeBron James is without a doubt the best player on the planet. He's been to 8 straight finals, but he's only won 3 of them. And it's because a team sport, you can't rely on just one individual, because if you rely on that one individual, you're going to fail, because you're going to go against 5 individuals. So when I see people come together and accomplish a goal, whether it's impacting lives of others or it's winning a game, it's pretty special, because there's nobody in this world who can do everything on their own. I mean, I come pretty close, but
just a little ego, just a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and help you out. Another thing that I think motivates you is probably your girls, your daughters and your wife.
Yeah,
I'd say that you're probably one of the more family focused guys I'm around.
Yeah.
So you might want to,
So
I'll throw that out there for you.
So
we do know your wife listens, and she does pick up on the little things.
She does. That's a reference to my wife's been giving us a hard time since our last podcast, and we don't know where, but apparently we made fun of her or something like that, or took a shot at her, and we don't even know where we did it, but apparently we did it at some point. We even re-listened to the podcast to find it. So if you find it, if you could do us a favor and let us know, that'd be awesome, because she can't remember it. But my girls are my world. I do everything for them. Growing up, I had parents that did absolutely everything for me. We got my brother next to me, and he would say the same thing. They worked hard to make sure they could give us everything that we wanted, anything we wanted. And so I try to do the same thing for my girls. I do spoil them, probably more than I ever thought I'd spoil my children, but it's because I don't want to be one of those parents that tell them no, because I want them to feel like they can do whatever they want and whatever they set their minds to. And if it's giving them the resources and the confidence now, it's only going to build in the future. And I look at my oldest daughter, and I see a spin image of me in terms of she's determined to get things done. The only difference is she's not as physically active. When we get her running, she'll tell me her legs hurt, her bones hurt, or something like that. But in terms of other things, she's so innovative and stuff. So I learn from them every day too.
Kyle, I'm going to put you on the spot. I know you don't want to be on the podcast, but I'm curious. You're going to have to lean in here and give me an answer. Kyle's little brother visiting from...
John's little brother.
Do what?
John's little brother, Kyle. You said Kyle's little brother.
I meant Kyle is the little brother. I guess I kind of just mumbled that together, but you know what I mean. We were talking, your brother's talking about what motivates him, and obviously you and I both think he's a jackass, more times than not. But what would be one thing that you admire about your brother's work ethic, and everything. I mean, just kind of everything he's talking about. Is there what's one thing you look up to your brother about?
One thing that I definitely look up to my brother for is the amount of work he puts in every day, no matter what the activity is. In college, he did a million different things and still somehow kept phenomenal grades and focused on everything. He didn't let one thing slip, and he still doesn't let anything slip, and I just think that's absolutely incredible, and I hope that I can do half of what he can do.
Dang, that's nice. That's genuine right there. I have to say, when John and I started to become, closer friends, I can't remember what it was. I think we were making funny John memes or something, and I was looking for a picture of him, so I Googled him, thinking I'd find
the Coach Grundy memes. Is that what you guys were doing?
I think it was even before that.
Okay.
But I was looking for a picture, and something popped up, a few things from Randolph, which is where he played lacrosse and where you're going to go play lacrosse. And I read like one or two of these articles, and John had said, yeah, man, I won this award, and I, did this, and I just thought, all right, this is John, Mr. Joe Ego, all that. But I remember sitting with Brandy Lane, who's a mutual friend of John and I's, and being like, this little dude that like tripped in to El Dorado, who acts like Joe Serious all the time, who like doesn't typically open up to a lot of people. I mean, but you don't get a chance to see a lot of him. I'm like reading this article about you got an award, and I know you hate me mentioning this, for like maybe top academic, like top GPA for student athletes. Is that right?
So that was one of the awards. The article covered several awards I won my senior year.
I was gonna go into but there was something else that you got recognized for promoting like diversity, something on campus. Am I right?
I don't know. I know that art. So the two awards that, because Chase shared the article with me, the one was Student of the Year for my college, and then Scholar Athlete of the Year. Both of those I was very humbled by, and I think mostly because my senior year, a lot of people know this about me because I'm very open about it. My daughter was born at the beginning of my senior year of college, so my daughter was part of my entire senior year experience. And the most special part about at Randolph, we have an awards week. So athletics is one night, academics is another night. And the best part about it was my daughter was there, and I carried her up because we were out in the hallway, and when the Student of the Year award was given out, and I carried her up, and it's nice to be recognized, but it was at that moment that I realized one chapter was ending and one chapter was beginning, and I was excited about the next chapter as a father. I think in my senior year I didn't get to be there as much. My wife, Casey, did not live with us or live with me. She lived back home. I went to college. We were 3 hours apart. So that's what I remember most about it, not necessarily awards. I can't even tell you where those awards are. I have no clue. They're probably at my parents' house or something. I don't know. Kyle knows where they are. But it was the ending of one chapter, beginning of the next, and the one that I'll be in for the rest of my life.
He also served on the Civility Task Force that helped identify ways that the community can increase respect for diversity. I don't know why that surprised me, but it kind of just, I was like, that guy did that.
That was an interesting task force. It was a combination of some students, and yeah, it was interesting.
I'm telling you, if you want to learn more about John Grundy, just Google him. There's a few things out there.
Well, be careful, because there's a lot of John Grundys in the world, so you gotta be kind of specific.
Oh, you'll be able to.
Yeah, because there's a lot of John Grundys out there, and a lot of them are a lot more successful than me. So I don't want you getting the wrong idea.
Yeah, I promise it's gonna be easy to sort out the John Grundys.
So kind of give you an idea, tonight was not for me to brag about myself or for me to just go on and on about myself and get questions asked about me. This is the first one of many. We're going to do a series of different podcast interviews. The next one will involve the famous Chase Locke, and we'll kind of dive into what motivates him and kind of what keeps him going. And then the goal is also to expand this. Motivation is contagious. And so what we're trying to do with this short little tidbit is hear what motivates you. So feel free to comment on our Facebook post. And also, who knows, maybe you will be on the Chase and John show, John and Chase show, whatever it is. That show that we do.
The John and Chase show.
The John and Chase show.
Well, and I think the biggest thing, too, is if you know someone who we should talk to, let us know. I mean, that's kind of the cool part, and when we were joking about doing all this, is we've had some fun conversations between the two of us. Honestly, most of the time they're not where we can record them, because they might be like, driving down the road or doing something else. But
driving back from St. Louis at midnight.
Driving back from St. Louis, or there's actually where this all started was driving back. I took John up to his first KU game. Probably his only KU game at Allen Fieldhouse, and we were driving back, and he was the one that said, we should start a podcast. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Again, this guy keeps throwing me for a loop. I'm like, you? On a podcast?
KU won, too.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Well, it was a Big 12 game.
Yeah.
KU wins Big 12 games, but when they get on national stage,
We're just going to keep
when
moving.
they choke.
Yeah, we're going to just keep rolling through this. God, you're such an asshole. You always start on a high, things are good, and then you just got to end it on a sour note.
How's that sour? It's the truth.
Yeah, no, you want to talk about Serena Williams too right now while we're at it?
We can talk about Serena Williams if
we
you
don't
like.
need to. No.
Okay.
I take it back.
Nothing negative, guys.
I completely lost my train of thought, but yeah.
You were saying basically if you know of anybody, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, but we want to be able to tell those stories, and it's kind of fun. This is kind of ridiculous, and there's nothing fancy about this, and there's really nothing entertaining about this, but it's kind of fun to hear people's stories and things that motivate them and things that they've went through and things that they've learned from, because I think sometimes people go through stuff and they're like, man, this just happens to me, and that's definitely not the case. And have a little bit of fun along the way. So Kyle, you're going back home tomorrow. Is there anything you want to add to the John and Chase show?
Friday.
Tomorrow's Thursday.
Damn, I was really pumped that tomorrow was Friday.
Chase is getting a little delusional, folks. It's getting pretty late here, and Chase is probably up past his bedtime, so just excuse his inability to
It's
tell time.
9:53. I'm usually in bed by 9. This coming from you,
Oh, I'm definitely past my bedtime.
yeah. So,
There's no doubt about that one.
is there anything you want to add?
Oh, really? I mean, thanks for having me on.
All right.